Morning, Deed Grabbers. It's Thursday. You know what that means. We're back. We've been gone for a couple of weeks. We've been doing a lot of stuff. We had our mastermind with our Sub 2 Max students, and we're back today. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of stuff going on. So you guys go grab your coffee, and we'll be back in 45 seconds. Morning, Deed Grabbers.
Good morning.
Hey, how are you guys doing out there? Listen, say hello to us. Let us know who you are, where you are, what your favorite real estate investing method is. And of course, if you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer those today. We're back with Princess Jodi.
Princess Jodi. It changed my
Yep,
name too.
hanging out in Arkansas with 4 or 5 inches of snow still on the ground. Been out there
It's
all
not
week.
4 or 5.
Well, you didn't look out the window this morning.
I
They
can see
finally
it.
shoveled all the walks, and you can
Yeah.
tell how much is out there now. It's a lot more than I thought. A lot of ice though too. So
Well, some people don't know that I'm from Wisconsin, so
I got you.
just ain't nothing but a thing.
Okay. Hey, Matt Smith's with us this morning. Good to see you. Matt says in Las Vegas it's sunny and nice. Oh man, but those real estate prices are plummeting in Las Vegas. Yeah.
Who's feeling the tingle? This is a Facebook user that we can't identify right now.
Yeah. Facebook user, hey, if you'll go to, what is it, streamyard.com/Facebook,
Yep.
and link up to your Facebook account, we'll know who you are so we can say good morning to you. But anyway, for the moment, I think they're in Houston, Facebook user. That's not Vincent, is it? Maybe Vincent. So anyway, so I don't know. You guys come in with your questions. We'll get those answered for you this morning. In the meantime, man, we just had this fabulous mastermind in
Mhm.
Little Rock, didn't we? We had a
It was
great
the
time.
best. It was the best.
It was the best. We 4 days with our Sub 2 Max students, and it was incredible.
Yeah. And it's going to be even better next time.
hmm Man, we're going all out. You want to tell everybody about it next time?
Oh, we're up in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're renting a it's a lodge, I guess, in Branson.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 12-bedroom lodge with
Right.
a pool in the basement, or I don't know if it's the basement or whatever, indoor pool, and it's on the lake, I believe. It's close
Mm-hmm.
to the lake anyway. And a pool table. I don't know. It's like awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I don't think we'll ever have to leave there to find stuff to do.
No, it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's got indoor basketball court.
Yeah, that's right. That
Yeah,
was another thing.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. All kind of video games and stuff. So we're looking forward to that.
There's a big giant kitchen where we'll have all the tables set up for, the mastermind part, and we'll just
Mhm.
it's
Right.
gonna be I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun with that. Yeah, Vincent's here. Good morning. Much love from Houston, Texas. It's pouring over here. Well, man, I'd rather have the rain than the snow. It's been pretty cold. I don't think we've really left in the last 4 or 5 days. We haven't left the house. We got a lot to do the next couple of days though,
Why haven't we left?
because there's a lot of snow and ice on the ground.
I
All
know.
right, don't start picking on me about snow and ice.
I'm like, whatever, it's just snow.
Yeah. Let's see, we got Allie here. Good morning, Allie. If you guys are looking for a CRM, you need to check Allie out. You can actually, I think we've got something here.
Allie is the best.
Yeah, just go to Sub 2 CRM. No lead left behind.
Yeah,
What
right.
we say. So you talk to somebody today, they're not quite ready for you, put them in a follow up, and They'll think that you're the most consistent person on the planet when you message them every couple of weeks.
Because people think we're pretty consistent and we are not.
That's right. I forget all about them.
I know. Like, oh, we messaged that seller that like I forgot about.
Right. So we do. We use that program. Encourage you to do the same. Let's see. Chris Adams. Good morning. Good to see you, Chris, out there in Arizona. How's the weather? Crew Property Solutions. Good morning. It's Tammy Cruisen. Hey, Tammy just joined us for her first master.
Yeah. We loved having her. She's delightful.
She says, a realtor called me with a deal unlike anything I've ever done. Okay, well, we're excited to hear about that, Tammy. So you got
type it in here like there's a little,
yeah,
the short version so we can hear. We're too excited to not hear about it. Yeah. And we can talk more about it if it's really long. But...
Hey, Amanda, good to see you. I guess Jodi got an email.
Yeah, I got an email. I'm sorry. I don't know how to turn
Hey, guys, did y'all hear Prime went up 1/4 point yesterday? You know what that means for y'all. Your lines of credit and credit cards and car loans are all going to go up, and mortgages are probably not going to go down. That's a big thing everybody around here has been saying. The mortgages are going to go back down soon. So we actually saw a few price increases on some properties in the MLS here.
I know, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff here.
They're very optimistic, aren't they?
Yeah. The foreclosure numbers are definitely up. Our normal half a day drive to do door drops has taken 2 days this week. It's going to take 2 days to do them. They've probably doubled just here in the last month, foreclosure.
Yeah.
I hate to say I'm excited about that. It does present a lot of opportunities for us, though, for sure. Hey, Amanda, good to see you. Yeah.
And Neil.
Yeah, Neil's here.
I don't know who that name is, JDIS. I don't know who that is. Hello from Ventura.
Yeah, good morning. Bill Walston,
Mr. Walston.
Mr. Tax and Entity and Lease Option Specialist. He's in here with us. Good to see you. All right, guys, if y'all have some questions, throw them at us. In the meantime, if you don't have questions, I'm going to answer other people's questions. We get questions every day in Messenger and email and everything else. So
wait, here's Tammy's summary here.
Okay. Good house, great neighborhood, divorce male facing foreclosure, owes $40,000. House going on the market tomorrow. Wants to borrow $40,000 for 2 months and pay me $15,000 in interest.
Whoa.
Well, my first question, Tammy, if he can afford to pay you $15,000 interest in 2 months, why couldn't he pay his mortgage? What's up with that?
What happens in 2 months? Why will he have it in 2 months?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it could be, there's some possibility there, but there's a lot of question marks.
It could be. I would definitely check that out. I wouldn't touch that unless there was an awful lot of equity and I could be a secured lender who could foreclose if needed.
Well, if he only owes 40, there's probably some equity unless it's a $50,000 house.
I think what she's saying is he's behind 40. He's facing foreclosure.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe the whole house was worth 40.
So I don't know. A little more clarity on that.
It might be hard to go through, like typing it up.
Chris, this guy, I made a post in the Max group.
I know.
A couple of months ago, and I just said, if I can get, there's X people in here, if I can get, 50% to answer this question, and it was really just a yes or no question. And we just, people are just
waiting.
Yeah. So he hits me up on those. Well, we might give those to you. Come to the mastermind, Chris.
Oh man, now you're just holding it hostage.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like, oh, this is all there is to it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
right. Not super crazy.
Come to the mastermind. You can't come to this one though; it's sold out. But we'll have another one in the fall, so we have 3 of those a year. Okay. Jay gave us his name, Jose from Ventura. Good to see you, Jose, here this morning.
Oh, there you go.
Chris, keep after you. You are tenacious, if nothing else. But you're a bunch of other stuff. Chris is a cool guy. So if you guys have a house for sale, want to buy a house out in Arizona, I think he's in the Phoenix area. Mm-hmm. Let us know for certain. After the sale, he has 200 $200K in equity. Okay, well that might be worthwhile. What's the actual value of the home, Tammy? Is that 200 on $1 million house or 200 on a $500,000 house? That makes a difference. So tell us that. Okay. I got Steve Riley from Fort Smith, Arkansas. Man, we're gonna go down and meet with Steve tomorrow and Chip and talk about foreclosures and what we're doing here on those. $450,000 house. So he's like at a 60% LTV. Oh, that might be worthwhile to do, Tammy. The house is in good shape. Let's talk some more about that over in the group later. Yeah, let's talk a little about that. Did Matt have a question here? In the documents course, you mentioned you record the deed, but what do you do with all the other documents? Do we record them anywhere? No, Matt, nothing else gets recorded. Everything else in the, if you're talking about the contract to close course, you get all of those. Most of those are disclosures. They're just understandings between you and the seller. So they know exactly what's going on. Of course, the HUD doesn't get recorded. If you're using a trust, your trust documents aren't going to get recorded either. Now, there are a couple of states, I think, that require you to record something to do with the trust, but generally no. So the deed will be the only thing that goes to the courthouse. How about that? It's really simple. And you know, the truth is, you can do a sub-2 with just a deed. I don't recommend it, but you can, and a lot of people have done it. I've talked to many investors over the years. Seller wanted to give them a house, so they just got a deed from them, recorded it, and just started making the payments. That could cause some problems down the road, but a lot of people do it, so it works. Okay, anything else right now?
Just a follow up for that.
So we just keep them on a file on our computer. Well, no, this is what I would recommend that you do. Of course, you got to get them all signed. You can scan them, but you always want to keep the hard copies. And you either want to have, if you're closing with a title company or an attorney, you can have them hold them in escrow for you. Or you can just keep a file in your credenza in your office, and that's what I used to do a long time ago. Is I just kept files right there in the credenza.
Are you recommending not keeping them on a computer or something?
Well, you can scan them and keep them on a computer if you want to, but nothing replaces. You know, if there's ever any problems, you can show up in court with an original signed in blue ink document as opposed to a scan or something.
I always feel like important things should be electronic and paper.
Yeah. And you want to keep them off site in case, you know, your house caught on fire or something happened. A couple of copies. Like I said, if you close with a title company or an attorney, you can have those guys hold those in escrow for you if you want to. So anyway, hope that helps. Okay. No other questions yet. So let's go through some of the ones that we've got here. I have a seller interested in sub-2, but they said they can't quite qualify for a new mortgage if they keep the existing one in place. Is there a workaround if the seller can prove they're no longer responsible for the payment? You know, a workaround. Listen, I've heard of people using a lot of workarounds. That I read recently where a teacher said, "Listen, just if the new lender needs a lease, give them a lease." But you know, that's not really what happened. And I don't think that's very good for you later if the seller said, well, you know, we really didn't mean to sell this house. We just leased it to this guy. I would tell the new lender, look, we bought this house. Here's documentation showing that we actually bought it. Your seller should get at least 75% credit toward their LTV. And some people say after a year they'll get 100%. I don't know if that's actually true or not. I think it's lender to lender. And they need to work with a mortgage professional like Andrew. Andrew is one of our Max students, and he's on here from time to time. And he knows a lot of people and can direct a seller, if they're buying a new house, to a lender that would be more favorable to that. So that's what my recommendation is on that. So what else we got here? You know, I can't see this stuff.
Vincent has
a question. I'm looking in Oklahoma market. Should I create an LLC for Oklahoma or should I put them in a land trust and make my LLC my beneficiary in buying houses subject to and selling with seller financing? Most people recommend that instead of registering your LLC, which I'm thinking, Vincent, you're in Texas. Correct me if I'm wrong. Instead of registering a foreign entity in Oklahoma, you would just want to go ahead and form one in Oklahoma to do that. That's what I'm thinking is probably the best thing for you too. Um, yeah, I think most people, maybe Bill is still on here and he can give us an exact on that, but I'm thinking you would want to just go ahead and form an LLC in Oklahoma for those deals, or at least the first few anyway, if you're doing a bunch. So hope that helps. Amanda's got a question, I think. Am
I got it.
Okay. What things benefit a seller with a lot of equity to sell subject to? Well, it depends on that seller, Amanda. Maybe the seller's in foreclosure and they don't see another way out. And if you come along and you say, and this is common for us to do, we'll say, listen, we can, if we can pay you what the house is worth. Can you take some now and some later? And depending on the amount of their original payment, we can make payments to them now over time on the rest of their equity, or they can agree to take it in a lump, like the last sub-2 that we did here. We paid the guy. He wanted $15,000, and we said, well, we can buy the house. We can pay you 3 now and give you the other 12 later. And he agreed to that. No payments, no interest, and just waiting on that $12,000. So, it just depends on the seller and their situation. If they've got a lot of equity and no motivation, then maybe not. Maybe they wouldn't agree to that, and I don't blame them. But if they are motivated,
maybe I can just turn my email off.
I would just present. Yeah. I would just present that as whatever. This is what I tell students. You present the deal that works for you. They'll let you know if it's not going to work for them. And if there's wiggle room in there, then that's when negotiating comes into play. Then okay, well, you can't take 10 now. What would it take to get this done? Well, I need 15. Okay. Well, can you do that or not, Amanda? If you can, you do it. If you can't, say, I'm sorry, I can't do that. This guy tried to negotiate with us a little bit, He said, can you give me 5 now? And I said, no, there's no way we can do that. Originally, we offered him 10, 3 up front, the other 7 later. And he said, eventually down the road, can you pay 15? And we agreed to do that. The house was in good shape, and we liked the house. And then he tried, to get 5 up front instead of 3. I said, no, I can't do that one. We're already paying you $5,000 more. We can't give you more up front. So just negotiate. Just tell them what you can do, and you guys work it out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
There's some people don't. Some people don't care about the equity they have at all, even if it's significant. I mean, maybe if it's really significant, but that first deal I did had 50,000, and they didn't care.
Right. They had a couple of things going on. They were in foreclosure and getting a divorce.
Right. But that's my point. Is like some people, depending on their situation, just don't care. They just want to be out.
Right. That's for sure.
I mean, I think 50,000 is somewhat significant.
Right. Well, that's like the gentleman that we were supposed to go see last week in Missouri. He's got a very nice house on 30 acres of land, and he's older. He's in his late 60s, I think, and he wants to move a little closer to his daughter, which is only an hour or so away. And his house is worth probably $290 or better, and he owes altogether about $230-ish. And he said, listen, if you can just take this debt, that's fine. I don't need anything. So, he's got a health situation. He wants to move closer to his daughter, and he just wants to get rid of it. So, it happens. And then it snowed, and we couldn't go see him.
No, right.
We're going to try to get
his equity wasn't, it was from appreciation. So it's not like he put all his life savings into it.
Right. And it was a VA loan. Yeah.
Right.
So we didn't put anything down.
Yeah.
And he said that in our conversation. I didn't put anything down on this house.
So he's really losing nothing except the equity that he kind of acquired through appreciation, and that's it.
Right. Okay. So hope that helps.
When it's money you earned and you put into it, I
Mhm.
feel like people feel differently about that money.
Right.
You know?
For sure. Okay, let's see. Matt has another question, I think.
Yep. Right here.
In your opinion, do you think the Vegas market's going to crash 50% like '08? It seems like sales are definitely down. Prices have been declining a lot. It's a curious thing. Uh, I've been investing 24 years. I've seen a couple of cycles. It's not like I've been doing it 100 years, and I've seen several like some people. But uh, just hearing what other people say and then seeing what happened in '08, uh, for some reason, Vegas seems to be the first place to take a hit. It's usually pretty drastic. Now, will it do 50% this time like last time? I don't know.
Well, there's no crystal ball, but it seems like the government has little things in place that
Right.
are going to prevent that from being quite as bad. But
Mm-hmm.
you never know.
Right.
Like I said, we're not psychic or anything.
Right. And as the government continues to control or manipulate or, whatever you think it is, try to fix things. In the past, the stock market plummeted and then they put stop gaps in place. It can only decline a certain percentage before they close it for the day. And they've stopped some, they've had to close a couple of days when it just kept falling to give people time to take a breath and calm down a little bit and come back to normal the next day. And that seems to work. So stopping foreclosures for a year, man, I don't know. That did affect the market tremendously. Foreclosures and foreclosure rates across the country, and of course they go up and down depending on what's happening. But typically, you're going to see 6% of houses get foreclosed on in a normal market, and 6 out of 100 in your town. That's a lot, and it impacts home prices. Everybody knows foreclosures sell for less than other houses just because they're distressed. REOs, banks get motivated, they slash prices, they sell stuff. So that impacted the market along with COVID and everything else. And of course, they're slowly trickling back in. Like I said, this round of door knocking is going to take 2 days instead of one because they've pretty much doubled here in just the last since Christmas, and we expected that. They slowed things down a bit. But will that happen in Vegas? Gosh, Matt, I wish I could tell you with certainty. That would be a good skill to have. I would say it's going to get worse for sure. The more people are getting laid off, the market's still bad.
Do you want to explain what you mean by door dropping takes 2 days?
Okay. We actually go out and knock on the door of people in foreclosure. We don't just send them a card or a letter. We actually go out and try to make contact with people. We try to say, hey, we saw that the bank's trying to take your house. We're here to see if we can do anything to help. And that doesn't just mean buy your house. If there's some options we can explain to you that you're unaware of, things you can do, talking with the bank. Are you in communication with your bank? We actually have those conversations. So that helps us, open some dialogue.
If they answer the door.
Right. If they answer the door. And it's really funny. These people are avoiding everybody. They won't answer their telephone. I've actually gone to the door, knocked on the door, saw people get up out of a chair, look, and then just step back out of the way like they didn't
kind of hide behind the wall. Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Or they just cracked it. Who are you? What do you want? I mean, they've got people hounding them. They're not just not paying their house.
And I'll be honest, I do that sometimes when it just looks like it's a salesperson or something. I'm like, nope. So some people are, will never answer the door, but.
So if they don't answer, we leave this big gaudy green envelope, and I don't have any sitting right here next to me. They're all over there next to the door. I took a picture of them and put it in the Max group last night. So he's going door knocking with me tomorrow, but it's got a couple of things in it. It's got a letter and a sales agreement.
It's bright lime green.
Right. And then we use that as a theme in our contact tool moving forward. Jodi designed several postcards that all have a picture of that green envelope stuck in a door. It says, hey, we came by to see you a little while back.
We sent one of these envelopes and I have like a photo of that on there.
Mm-hmm. and the postcards get progressively more urgent as we move along through the process. The average foreclosure takes around 90 days here. So we try to space those out. So we'll get to them up to the last couple of weeks. And then we go back again with a second green envelope, a smaller one this time.
Same color.
Yeah. And,
well, we just want them to know that it's, oh, that guy, the guy with the green envelopes. I know who that is.
Yeah. So that's what we do. On door drops, and we go out every week and do that. And usually we can cover them all in about a half a day, but this time it's going to take 2 half days. If you transfer a property name to a relative, what happens to your property basis? If you transfer a property name to a relative, what happens to you? Are you saying if you deed a property to a relative, what happens to your basis? I don't know. Are they purchasing it from you, or are you giving it to them? Tell me a little bit more about.
We'll come back to that one.
Yeah. Okay. I have a seller who wants to sell the house to me on sub 2. That's great, Michael. Tell us more about that.
Oops, I'm just going
good
right
morning, now. Michael. Good to see you. Ed, thanks for the call. See you next time. Thank you. That's awesome. Great, Amanda. Let's see, Michael. I have a seller who is selling to me on sub 2, but he wants $60,000 for all the updates and new AC and new windows. Upfront cash. How do you deal with it if you don't have the cash? Well, if the deal doesn't work for you, Michael, you can't do it. Sometimes you have to have a difficult conversation with sellers. Sometimes, they say, oh, well, we just put a new AC in here. And I just talked to a guy this morning. Man, the house has got all new windows. Well, people that buy a house expect it to have windows.
Yeah.
That's not really an upgrade. You want to give me an upgrade? Put in a new pool. Put in a hot tub, do some kind of fancy full body shower.
There again, that's money that came out of their pocket that they want to recoup. That's why. But yeah, it doesn't add to the value.
The first, I don't know how you.
If you notice his comment, it says they have new widows. I wonder how that works.
I don't know. I think it's windows. I don't know, but I'm very literal, right?
You are very literal.
Anyway. So what's this guy's motivation? Why does he want to sell? Is he just thinking about it? Whatever. I don't have a problem telling a seller, and I probably do this more times than that I make them an offer. I say, sounds like you need to list your house. And if your agent's not able to bring you any joy, then let's talk again. And do you mind if I follow up? And then we'll throw them in Allie's CRM and just reach out to them every couple of weeks. Hey, this is William. Just checking back in with you. Have you been able to sell your house? Is it still for sale? We're still very interested. Do you door knock first, then call next week? No, Vincent, I didn't.
Call or text, he said.
Then call or text.
Call or text.
We don't. We tried doing this skip trace thing with them and all, but I'm telling you, I'm afraid just absolute cold skip tracing is going to be a thing of the past really soon.
And when we skip trace those numbers, I mean, like 2/3 of them are no good.
Right. A lot of them are no good.
People that are in that trouble, they change their phone numbers. And
they do.
Stuff like that. So, I mean, it was too difficult. It wasn't very cost effective or time effective. Mm-hmm. So we do postcards because those will just go no matter what their number is.
Right.
But anyway, yeah.
We do a door drop. We put them into a postcard sequence that'll take them up to the last couple of weeks before the auction. And then at that point, if they call us anytime or they go to our website to download our report on how to stop foreclosure, then they'll be put in an automated texting platform, and then we'll reach out to them then. If you had some cash and you were starting out today, what marketing method would you choose to start with? Amanda, I don't know how much money you've got. Jodi knows what I'm going to say. If I had a fairly significant marketing budget, $1,000, $2,000 a month, I would go radio. I would just absolutely do it. We had a caller this morning from our radio. I mean, we get callers every week, all kind of different people. Our first 2 deals here in Arkansas have been radio. I would do that.
And if you have less money, I would do bandit signs because we got calls from that too. And
right. Bandit signs, and then pre-foreclosures.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would do. And foreclosures don't cost very much, I'm guessing, other than gas, and that's because we choose to door knock. If we didn't door knock, it'd be a lot less. But our total marketing cost in pre-foreclosures is probably less than $3 per lead.
Well, and if you decided to do postcards for that too, if you use, Andy's thing, Andy's direct mail thing, we send a series of 3 postcards to, no, 3? No, 6. I'm sorry. That was for the other one. 6 postcards to pre-foreclosures. And how much does that cost? I think it's
less than $3
for 6 of them.
It's like 46 cents a card. And they're customized. You can use their templates. You can make your own. It's really simple to do. And it's just plug and play.
So if you have 100 people in foreclosure each month, which I don't know if that's the number in your town, but it's $300 a month. That's not terrible.
And that's with these people getting multiple cards over several weeks. So sub 2 direct mail, Andy Detweiler at Print Genie. He can hook you up. Great guy, amazing customer service, and that's who we use.
Otherwise, for foreclosures, you can have nothing but gas money for that. If you just want to door knock or hand deliver things, door drops. Yep. All right. Where are we?
Okay, let's see. I take my little dog with me, not as intimidating.
Unless they're terrified of dogs.
Yeah, that's what that was a question. I haven't seen that question in a really long time, but that used to be a question. How do you dress when you go door knocking? And you've got people that think you need to be super professional in a suit and whatever. And I have always, anybody that knows me knows, if you see me, 99.9% of the time, I'm going to be in a pair of cargo shorts
and sandals.
And sandals. I am as non-intimidating
in the winter.
In the winter, I am generally. Now, if I was in Alaska and it was 20 below, I don't know if I would be. But man, I can handle 20 degrees. I'm only out of the car for a few minutes before I'm either in their house or back in the car. So yeah, very non-intimidating. Knock on the door, take a few steps back so you're not in their face, and just be friendly. That's what you're there for. Okay, ARV 252, payoff 164, behind 80,000, wants 10 to 15 to walk away with. So you would have to come up with 100,000 to do this thing. Trying to see how these make those numbers work. So 80, 90. Okay, so he basically owes at this point what the house is worth, I'm guessing. I don't know. You got to put 40% down really to buy this house. The money that the seller wants is out the window. I could pay him enough money to get a moving truck, and that's probably it. Because you add your 80 to his 10 or 15, and you're into this house for what it's worth or more. I don't know about that. If there's some way that the bank would work with putting that on the back end or recasting that note or something, maybe. And maybe he could even get his 10 in that case. But otherwise, no, I don't think so. I see these, I saw someone posted in a group that said, hey, I've got several deals in this certain state. This was just yesterday. Several sub-2s in this certain state messaged me. And so I did message them. And I said, hey, send them to me. And everyone they send to me, there's this massive, acquisition cost. $50,000 to get in, $60,000 to get in, $30,000. And I'm like, folks, do you not know that you can buy houses through the bank with less than 25% down? Okay. That I don't know. It's like the example I gave earlier. This house that we sub-2'd down here last month. $3,000. Okay, $3,000 to the seller. That's it. Closing costs. That's it. Okay. Yes, if you give a property to a relative, how does that affect your tax basis? Well, gosh, I don't know. I wish I could answer that question. your tax basis, if you give it away, if it was an investment property, uh, I guess you would show some type of loss between what your basis was in the property and what you gave it, whatever price it's at or whatever you owe on it when you sell it. I guess you would show some kind of loss. Again,
is this over our head? It's over my head.
It may be. Everybody's situation differs a little bit. My best guess is that if you bought it for $250 and you now owe $200 and you give it away, you didn't make any profit on it, anything other than if you rented it or what have you. But that's a really good question for your tax person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not an accountant. If you've been around here for a while, you know I only have a ninth grade education, so I'm not an accountant. Let's see. If you're taking a foreclosure sub 2 where the loan stays on the foreclosed borrower's name, how do you stop the foreclosure process from the lender? Well, you know what? The lender will stop that foreclosure in a heartbeat if you'll give them the back payment.
Right.
That's how you do it, man. You get your authorizations from your seller, your power of attorney. Better yet, get on a three-way call with your seller, yourself, and the lender, and you say, "Hey, I'm here helping Bob. He's got obviously some financial problems. How much to reinstate this mortgage?" And your lender will tell you, send us $11,000 and you're back to good. So that's all you got to do. Now, don't send that money. Another way? Well,
is there any other way?
You can help the seller do some type of workout with the lender where they do a loan modification or something like that. But I would be cautious with that if it requires them to sign any document saying that they intend to continue occupying that property.
Right.
Because if you're helping the seller lie to the lender just so you can take title to it, I don't know if somewhere down the road that could be a problem.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. That probably wouldn't be a problem.
But I was just wondering if there's any other thing, but not really. Money talks.
Money fixes things.
That's right.
In my experience,
Mm-hmm.
And especially with lenders. If the reason the seller's in foreclosure is because they didn't pay the lender, or there wouldn't be any problem. So pay them up. No problem. Hey, if you're a landlord and your tenant doesn't pay you and you file an eviction, what'll correct that?
Paying your rent.
Paying you, right. Okay, Vincent, how much do you pay average monthly for direct mail? Right now, gosh, we probably don't spend $100 a month on direct mail, do we? Because all we're direct mailing, we direct mail 2 groups.
Maybe $200 between the 90 days and the foreclosures.
We direct mail 2 groups, and she just said them, 90 days plus MLS, and then foreclosures. That's all we do. We don't do a ton of direct mail. I know investors. We talked to a student last month that said he was sending out 15,000 postcards a month. Whew. Man, that's insane. That's a lot of money. Okay, what else we got?
Let's see. That's a follow-up.
Would ask the seller to finance the $60,000. If so, what kind of terms and interest rate? Well, Michael, what do you want? If they're financing it, okay, let's look at it this way. If the mortgage you're taking sub 2 has a payment of $1,000 a month and the house will rent for $18 a month, you've got $800 a month to play with on cash flow as a rental, correct? If you got $800 a month to play with in cash flow, you could make payments to him of a couple of $100 a month for his equity. But if the payment on the underlying note was $15 and it'll only rent for $18, there's no room for that. So this guy may have to wait to some point in the future to get paid, maybe when you sell it or you refinance it. And that could be interest or no interest. If he says, well, if I have to wait, how's that going to help me? And, you just have to negotiate. Maybe it's accrued interest. Maybe you pay him 3% interest or 4% interest, and it just accrues on that $60,000 note until you pay him sometime in the future. So it's a no payment loan, but it does accrue interest. So there's so many options in this thing. Like I said earlier, You run the numbers, you know what you can do, make him an offer that you can do. And if he asks for more and you can do it and you want to, do it. If you can't, I'm afraid I can't, Mr. Seller. There doesn't leave enough profit. That conversation I had with the guy this morning, uh, he talking about buying his house, and he said, my house is free and clear. And we looked it up on Zillow while we were talking to him, and the house is probably worth what, 230, 240,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. Uh, and he said the house is in great condition. He listed off all of these things he had done to it and upgrading it. Uh, and he said it does need a new kitchen. And I said, okay. He said, you can, if you, I said, what do you need to get for this house? He didn't want to give me a price. He finally said, oh, 200, maybe 220, as much as I can. And I said, well, okay. I said, if I pay you, he said, you can sell it for 250 and make a profit. And I said, well, let me explain to you how this goes. If I buy your house for 200 and I put a new kitchen in it, I'm going to hire a contractor because I'm not very handy. Okay, I don't know how to put in a kitchen. I'm going to buy it from you for 200. I'm going to pay $2,000 or $3,000 in closing costs. I'm going to pay, if all this house needs is a new kitchen, and there are going to be a couple other odds and ends, some lipstick here and there. I said, I'm probably going to pay $15,000 for a new kitchen and to touch up some things.
Odds and ends, yep.
So now I'm into this house for 218. If I list it for 250, because I got to use an agent because they're the best at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sell it for 250. All of my agent's commission, my closing cost, and the market's a little slower now, so buyers are asking for concessions. They want an interest rate buy down. They want you to pay some of their closing costs. I said, if I sell this house for 250 with an agent, I'm probably going to pay 20,000 in closing costs on the sale side. So I'm into this. That leaves me 230 out of my 250. So I'm going to profit 230. I paid 200, 18 to fix it up. That leaves me a $12,000. And before I could even get to that, he said, yeah, that ain't worth it, is it? And I said, not really. Not to make 5%, less than 5% on a $250,000 house. So sometimes you just have to explain to them how things work and show them some numbers. He understood that pretty quickly. So just tell him what works for you, Michael. All right. So where are we? A few questions here.
Okay, let's see.
The seller in foreclosure is always saying they're restructuring with the bank or doing bankruptcy. What do you say to that? Chris, you've got to attack that very aggressively. One of the postcards in our sequence now, we took a picture of a house that went to auction in December. And it's got foreclosed across it. And the postcard, it says, listen, I talked to this seller, visited this seller. I talk to sellers every month. They say they have things worked out. This house went to auction last month. It was worth, how much was that? What was the value on that house? 500 plus.
Almost 5. Or was it more? I thought it was almost 5.
Right. Right around $500,000. This house is on the lake. It was amazing. And it sold at auction for $196,000. Don't let this happen to you. Okay. And you just have to be very, now if I'm face to face with a seller and they say, oh yeah, I'm working it out with a bank or whatever, then I'll say, really? I mean, you're actually talking to the bank, because listen, make no mistake, they will foreclose on your house and you'll lose everything. And,
I wish I could get inside their head.
Right.
Like, you have $300,000 in equity right now. Right. Or I'm actually not sure how much they owed, but it sold for 190. So I'm assuming they probably had close to that.
Right.
They got our postcard, they got our letter. How do they just go, I just don't want to do anything.
Right.
But we know the same with that one guy that we were talking about that he hid behind the wall. I mean,
right.
Why? We told him we could get him some money. I just can't get my head around.
Right. I know and I tell Jodi this all the time when we deal with these people that we've talked to several times, and oh yeah, it's taken care of, and then we see their house go to auction. We watched how many 3 go last week
that we've been
to, and they had low balances. These people lost everything for no reason at all. And I say, I've been doing this for 24 years and I'm still amazed.
I understand when we go early. When it's first filed, we go early, and I understand that it takes a while for you to go, okay, let me try everything I can. I see if I can borrow the money, I can, whatever, refinance. They try all those things, and you'd think that reality would be getting brighter and brighter in their mind that, okay, I can't do anything. So I'm going to have to sell this house. You know what I mean? And they just, I don't understand. They just don't come to that realization.
Right. They're in denial. They're embarrassed. They're ashamed. They're, maybe,
yeah, that's what we started saying though. Say like, you're going to be out one way or the other. And when it gets down to the end, I mean, you're going to be out. Either you're going to sell it to somebody, us or somebody, or the sheriff's just going to come and escort you out. I mean, you're going to be out either way. Why not get some money? And they're just like,
we had a conversation, a couple of months ago with a guy. He had left his wife and kids, moved to Michigan. We had called and called and called. And I'd already talked to his wife. His wife said, yeah, he won't answer our calls. We know we're going to have to move. We're already making plans to move.
He completely abandoned his whole family.
Right. We called and called all of his relatives, man. We checked him. I mean, I had his parents, his brothers and sisters. Nobody will answer the phone. One night, I was just sitting here and just on a whim. I said, I'm going to try this guy again. It was like a week before the auction. I dialed
He accidentally answered, is what I think.
He answered the phone. I didn't know what to say first. I was tongue-tied because
I know. He's like, the phone answers, the guy's like, hello, and William's like, is this so-and-so?
So he's like, well, who is this? And I said, well, this is William. I said, I've been trying to call you about your house in foreclosure. I said, I've left several messages. Listen, we're a week away from the auction. Do you really want to let the bank take this house? Or do you want to, get some cash out of it? He said, well, I'd love to get some money. And I said, well, listen, we can pay probably up to $20,000. Not sure yet. Haven't looked at a few things, but let me send over some documents. You sign them. We'll do all the work on this end. And I can probably get you a check in a couple of days. And he said, sure. And he gave me his email address, and I prepared the documents and sent them over to him. Nothing. Called him, nothing. He wouldn't even answer the phone. Nothing.
I can't remember. Has that one gone to the sale yet?
Oh, yeah. It went a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, yeah.
So,
I don't know.
What they're thinking, man. I told this guy, I can get you.
I just want to shake him. Like, what is wrong?
And it's always going to be that way because it always has been.
Yeah, that's right.
Who knows why people think what they do?
This must be Miss Cindy.
Yeah, low 40s and raining here in central Mississippi today. Well, rain's better than sleet and snow, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's true.
And we got to get rolling here.
I know. I see that.
What does a typical offer look like to you if the house was $400 and you were trying to buy sub 2 and wrap it to an end buyer? Typical offer, Matt, that depends on the seller. The seller determines your offer. Let's just take your $400,000 house, for example. If this person was in foreclosure and they owed $200 and the house was worth $400 and I knocked on the door and they were in the process of moving, I would, talk to them about, what's going on. And they say, oh, yeah, we're getting a divorce. We're just moving. We don't care. We don't want the house. Okay. Well, if I wrote you a check for, $5,000, would you be willing to sell it to me? Yeah. Okay. All right, let's do it. And then we'll do it. It just depends. If they call us from an ad and they have a house worth $400 and they owe $200 and they want $200,000 in equity, I'm going to say, okay, we'll be glad to buy your house. We'll pay your $400, but here's how we do it. And we'll take over the payments. We'll pay your $200,000 for your equity, but we'll have to do that in payments. How much do you have up front? And if they said, well, we're moving across the country and I think we can get moved and get established for $20,000, can you do that? And they're open to payments. I would say we could probably do that. I'd give them $20,000, either make payments to them with the cash flow that the property would allow, or they would wait for their other $180 until we sold it. It depends on the seller. You ask them what they will do. You agree with that, Jodi?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Depends on the seller. Better late than never. I'm here. Arkansas property buyers. That's Randy. Randy's the radio guy that,
The radio king.
yeah, that got us interested.
The king of radio.
That's right. He can't get a title company girl to call me though. I told him this morning. I said it's so good to see that I have a lot of pull in here.
I know, right?
How many times the lender allows you to remodify a loan? We've seen people in the last couple of months that have had a couple or more modifications.
Maybe not back to back. I mean, I think they have to. I mean, they won't redo it again if you've made no, track record of good payments. But if you do a little while, I think they'll do it again.
But Jodi and I were talking about this yesterday. I feel like she feels like that's going to stop soon, because we're seeing more and more people that had a loan modification 4 months ago, and now they're in foreclosure. And that since foreclosure takes 4 months, that tells me they didn't make payments for a year, 2 years. They got a loan mod, got it all put on the back, or have very small. One I looked at yesterday, their payments on their loan mod $75 a month, and still never made a payment. So they got all that put on the back. They're starting all over again. 4 months have passed. The foreclosure started again. It was just a time. It was just a delay mechanism, really, to give them a few more months. So we start to see a lot of that too.
You hurt Randy's feelings.
Oh, well. That's truth. You need to tell that girl to call me. I don't know. I don't think she wants. I asked him this morning. I said, didn't you tell her that I'm kind of a big deal? Mental illness and denial. Yeah. Most people that are in foreclosure, there's a reason that they are. They lost their job. And I know for guys, that's a self-esteem thing, a self-worth thing. If they've taken care of their families, they have jobs, they paid all the bills, and now they're not able to, so they're in a bad place. If you get a divorce, man, that's a horrible thing too. So there's something else going on that's bigger than what's happening right now.
Yeah. Okay, so this one, the postcards we use are I designed them myself for our company, but I could probably change them up a little bit so that they're more generic for anyone could use. I could probably do that.
If you sign up with Print Genie, we already have a few of our sequences in there that we're not using right now, but we've used in the past, abandoned properties and some things like that. But we can add our sequence. Yeah, I
could probably just change, just take off our branding and things like that and re-upload those because I'm not sure how it works. You have a thing where you can share the ones that you put up, right, with our students or something?
Right. We can do
that. Can anybody see, or can anybody use them?
No, you can just share it to the people that are in your group.
Okay, yeah.
On Print Genie, yeah. Right. We'll find out from Andy if we can get those in there. We did some other sequences before that are in there. Anybody that signs up with our link can get access to our stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
like I said, I would have to unbrand them first because I mean, ours are not public right now. They're just for our own use, but I could make a public version of them.
Right. Okay, cool. Arrow Properties. Okay. Who are you, Arrow Properties? Tell us who you are and where you are.
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
Tell us everything about you. Let's see. I think there was one more that I missed here. I think this one.
Just because the market is declining, Matt, and that's certainly something that you might want to consider doing, especially where you are. But here's, and this is what I tell my students to do. The first question I ask them when they tell me about a deal is, what is the payment and what will it rent for? Because rents typically will stay fairly stable. You may see a little decline. I mean, if there's renting for $1,800 today, if the rental market gets a little softer, it may drop $100 or $200. It's not going to drop by half, like the value of a property. Would you pay $1 million for a $250,000 property? Most people say no. And my next question is, well, it depends on what the financing is on that property. If that $250,000 property will rent for $2,000 a month, and the $1 million seller will finance it to me for $500 a month, why wouldn't I buy it? I don't care what I pay for it. What I care about is cash flow. Okay. Equity is great. When you've got equity, it's fantastic. But if 2008 taught us anything, it's that your equity can vanish in a second. So cash flow is real. Equity, equity's real when you sell it and actually make the money. Okay. Mike in New Jersey. Well, good to have you, Mike. We appreciate you being here today. So let's see. I'd like to see your 6 postcard sequence. Okay. Well, we'll see what we can do to make that happen for you guys.
I think we covered everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right about on time. I think
Just
so.
about on time. Okay. Chris had something, I think.
Oh, this one?
Yeah. Seller in foreclosure is always saying they're restructuring. Okay. I think we already had that. Tammy made a comment up here somewhere.
Oh, yeah. I was going to come back to that.
Yeah. That was before this call ends, I want to tell you all to go to Sub2 Max Mastermind if possible. It was unbelievably helpful. Learned so much, made so many great connections. Listen, if you want to come to the Mastermind, you have to be a Sub2 Max member. And I think we've got a link here if you guys want to go check it out.
I'm just going to say, if you're not in it, in the Mastermind especially, you should be so jealous.
Yeah. It was amazing.
It was really, I feel like, and I've had several of the students mention that since coming to them, they got to know the other people in the masterminds, so well that they're like family now. Like there's a clump of them that always, stay together and, hang out outside of the group, where I don't think, before all the students knew each other that well. But you get to know each other pretty well at the mastermind, because you got to, spill all your, well, you don't have to, but you can spill all your guts and talk about your life and your business. And then, of course, you're spending 3 days together.
Right.
So you get to know each other really well. And it's like, they've really bonded and gelled really well.
Mm-hmm. And
they're all great.
Mm-hmm. You can watch everybody on YouTube. You can watch us, and we'll talk about stuff we do. You can watch. There's 1,000 YouTube channels with real estate trainers, but when you sit in a room for 4 days, yeah, right. That must be Phil, or I don't know. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that. But anyway, you're in this room with 30 people for 3-4 days. And each individual sharing what their problems are in their business, what they're doing that's successful in their business from all over the country. And you can actually take that real stuff back and use it. Listen, radio, we got from the mastermind. Randy was there. He was talking about it, about the details, how to do it and how it works real well. And, we made $76,000 last month off of deals from radio ads. Was it worth attending? Well, yeah, it was a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
Someone asked, what do we get with the 7? Did I see that come up?
Oh, yeah, I did.
$7 coaching. $7 coaching. Then you can go to $7coaching.com. Is a Facebook group. It's got forms. We share new forms every week. And you get me to answer your questions personally. Each and every week. So, there's other interaction from other investors there as well. It's a very, very mini version of Max on a really smaller level. But if you want
it is mostly for people starting out.
Mm-hmm.
Not that there's nothing, a little bit higher, but
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So that's mainly what it is. Now, and of course, we've got some other products at Sub2 University if you guys want to check those out. So
yeah, if you're not ready for just the Max group, just some courses and stuff are in this university.com here.
Right. Okay, so I guess that wraps it up. We don't have any other questions today. We're about to head out. We're having lunch with an attorney today, an attorney here in Arkansas.
Well, this was the other question that we had. That's on last comment.
I haven't done any Sub2 deals. I don't think a mastermind would benefit me yet. I assume it's for people doing lots of deals. Matt, it's not. It's for everybody. It's for people that aren't doing anything that want to be around other people who are doing things. Like I said, it's fine to go to seminars, webinars, YouTube channels. You hire coaches, do this, do that. People that talk about buying 25 houses a month, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'll never get there. But when you're talking to the guy from Topeka who buys one or two sub twos a month, and he's talking about the best things that work for him, deals that he's doing, that stuff's real. You know what I mean? And
you should be hanging out with people who are doing more than you do.
right. We've got people that came. You know, Tammy's a good example. It was her first one, and she said it was just amazing. So you would have to talk to some of the
She's
people.
done some deals. I believe she has. I can't remember exactly, but I think she's done deals. So she wasn't brand new either, but I feel like she felt it, leveled her up a little.
Right.
Having the contacts and the support and all that kind of stuff.
Matt, the best thing to do is talk to people that are actually in the group. Obviously we're going to say it's great. If you go to our YouTube channel at sub2tv.com and subscribe while you're over there, if you're not already, I'm sure you are, but maybe there's some other people that aren't. Go over there and look at our testimonial reel from our students. All of our students give you their name, their city. Look them up on Facebook, message them.
I think we have some new ones coming out from this last mastermind too.
And they'll tell you about the group and about the mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tell you the real story. They were there. All right. I guess we're out. So you guys have a fantastic week. And I guess
I think this is Phil right here saying that.
Invite Matt to a coaching call on Tuesday night. We should do that sometime.
That's right.
So, yeah. All right. So I guess we're going to get out of here and get on the road. And you guys have a great week. And talk to some sellers.
And buy some houses.
Yep.
I didn't know you were leaving that for me.
Yeah, I was leaving that for you.
Oh, that's just my new out statement.
Yeah. We'll see y'all next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.